Well, we talked about in a video a couple of weeks ago that the rumor was that Disney was looking to implement a very similar system to what Universal Studios uses with their Express Pass system. Well, it is official now, as Disney came out this morning and said that Lightning Lane Premier Pass is now available at Disney World and Disneyland. And it has some, let's just say, a little wild pricing. So we're going to go through this article we have here from Blog Mickey. And then we're also going to compare this to, current pricing with Disney Lightning Lane Multi-Pass and Single Pass. And now we have Premier Pass with what Universal offers with their Express Pass, and see where the value lies. So that's what we're going to do right now. So hi, I'm Jared with Capture the Magic. And again, this is from Blog Mickey. It says Disney has just announced Lightning Lane Premier Pass for Walt Disney World and Disneyland, confirming our earlier reporting. Says, in the coming weeks, Disneyland Resort and Walt Disney World Resort will begin piloting a new service providing expedited entry to theme park attractions, Lightning Lane Premier Pass. Lightning Lane Premier Pass will be offered in very limited quantities and will give guests one-time entry to each available Lightning Lane entrance in the theme park they are visiting that day. This includes attractions included in both Lightning Lane Multi-Pass and Single Pass. But with Lightning Lane Premier Pass, guests do not need to select an experience time. Lightning Lane Premier Pass will be a premium offering, and prices will be very based on the date and theme park guests are visiting. It says there is no change to Lightning Lane Single Pass or Multi Pass, at least at this time. Okay, Lightning Lane Premier Pass at Disney World. When Lightning Lane Premier Pass launches, it will be available for guests staying at Disney Deluxe or Deluxe Villa Resorts, and may be purchased up to 7 days in advance of their stay. It will only be valid for use in one park of the guest's choice per day. The first date it will be available is October 30th of this year. Prices for Lightning Lane Premier Passes vary by date and theme park. At launch, prices will range from $129 to $449, with the highest prices falling on a limited number of days over peak travel periods. So Magic Kingdom is $329 to $449 per person. Epcot is $169 to $249 per person. Hollywood Studios is $269 to $349 per person. And Animal Kingdom is $129 to $199 per day.
I declare bankruptcy!
So this is not a park hopping thing. You have to buy it at each park, which that's a little interesting. I will say I kind of figured that if they did this, they might make it available where you can park hop with it, but that is not the case here. So we're going to break down the cost of all this in just a second, because this is pretty interesting here. But we'll just talk about Disneyland real quick. So Disneyland is also getting this. It will be available first come, first served, beginning 2 days in advance of a theme park reservation, and will be valid for use in both theme parks. The first date it will be available is October 23rd. Lightning Lane Premier Pass will be priced at $400 per person per day for park visits through December 31st, beginning in 2025. Pricing will vary by date and demand within a range of $300 to $400. So if you want to do Lightning Lane Premier, Magic Kingdom is obviously the most expensive one. It's going to cost you anywhere between, let's go low end Animal Kingdom, $129 per day, all the way up to $449 per person. So, okay, how does this look compared to the current pricing? So we look over here at Disney World current pricing for Lightning Lane Multi-Pass and Single Pass. This is so much more confusing now. So within Lightning Lanes, you now have 3 different things that you can choose from. So if we're looking at multi-pass pricing, at least this is of right now. So this gives you a range at least. Magic Kingdom is $35, Epcot $24, Hollywood Studios $29, Animal Kingdom $19. And then if you want to do the single pass rides, you got $13 for Seven Dwarfs. Tron is $21, Guardians of the Galaxy is $18, Rise of the Resistance is $25, and Flight of Passage in Animal Kingdom is $17 on those specific rides. And that's just a range. Obviously, it depends on date and crowd and things like that, but that gives you a range here. So it's not available to everybody. It's only available if you're staying at a deluxe level resort. So you're already paying a ton of money to stay there, and you have, I guess, the ability the right the right to be able to buy this if you would like it. And if we take this, not looking at the pricing of staying in a deluxe resort here, let's say your park ticket is $125, which it can be up to $165. But let's say the park ticket was $125 and you get the Lightning Lane Premier Pass. That would be $575 around that per person, just for Magic Kingdom. Now, if you wanted to jump over to another park, you would have to then buy it as, that price there as well. So if you were looking to do, let's say, the highest tier that is available, and you were wanting to park hop and be able to do all the rides available on this, you would pay, and let's just take the highest pricing available, that's over $1,200 you'd be paying in Premier alone to be able to use the Premier Pass at all of the parks in a day. And especially when we compare that to Universal. So this system is very similar, obviously, to what Universal does with their Express Pass system. I've talked about many times how I feel like this type of system, if you're going to do a cut the ride system, I do feel like Universal's works the best because it is expensive, but they don't have a lot of them available. So they don't have as much of an impact when it comes to standby lines. And also, by default, you don't have to schedule anything. So I guess one of the perks, if you're looking at Disney's system here, is you're paying a lot of money to not have to be into your phone and schedule a bunch of reservations and things like that. And you can just walk around and go into any of the rides one time. It's not unlimited. But if we look over at Universal, their unlimited Express Pass, $119 is where it starts, and then it goes up to $319. It is expensive, but even if you do the one that's more similar to what Disney's offering with the Premier Pass, which would be the regular Express, where you get one-time use per ride, that is $89.99 up to $289 per day to do that. But the thing that you have with Universal is if you stay at one of their Premier resorts, you get the Express Pass for free. So when it comes to the differences here, Disney is saying when you stay at their deluxe hotels, you have the ability to buy more things to get these passes to be able to make your day simpler. Whereas at Universal, you stay at one of their very nice hotels, they will give this to you for free. So I think it's hard to not look at that comparison right off the bat with this. Obviously, in my opinion, and I've said this in other videos, I have felt like Universal, they don't have the market share that Disney does, but they seem to be definitely driving a lot of the creativity and the way that things are in theme parks, especially the last few years. It definitely seems like Disney is looking at their system here and implementing it over their parks in a different way, and in a time period too where a lot of people would much rather Disney concentrate on, doing better on their maintenance, concentrating on the things that they announced at D23 to be, build and start getting going on that, where some of those attractions are going. It seems like the focus of the company is offering this new high-end product that, a lot of people are not going to be able to get or use. But again, it just feeds into the further narrative about Disney just going after, making more money, price hiking things. And, I'm not like upset that it exists. There are going to be some people that, are upset that this exists. They don't like the fact that some, it's like a reminder that they can't have it. And so it kind of makes them mad. I'm not mad that it exists because this happens in life where if you have a certain amount of money, you're able to purchase things that other people can't. I think really what it just comes down to is like you look at the company and you look at the changes that they made, all these massive changes, especially since 2020. If the last time you went to the parks was in 2018, 2019, you were in for a vastly different experience in terms of not only the pricing, but just how much more complicated it has become to go to Disney, which was already a complicated vacation to begin with. And, you just look at the things that used to be included and now they charge for. And on top of this, they have these extra tier you can do. So it's just something like I'm not surprised by it. Disney has shown the last few years they really want to go after this really high-end demo of people. And I don't really know much else to say about it. I'm just not surprised. Maybe I'm jaded by the fact of how they operate. I'm not going to act like I'm outraged or shocked that they did this because, again, we talked about this a few weeks ago that they were looking at doing this. I have way more questions than probably anything else in terms of how many people are going to get this, how's this going to impact regular standby lines, like, does this last? Do enough people buy this? Do they change the system? I don't know. I think it's crazy the amount of money some people spend on food when you talk about like Victoria and Albert's. Obviously, that's not something that I'm going to do, but there is a group of people that will spend money on certain experiences. I'm sure some people will do this and see the value in it. I'm assuming a lot of people that may do this obviously are going to have a lot of extra money, but it could be like a once in a lifetime vacation and they just want to get the most out of it. But again, I'm just going to point to, I think you just spend a little bit more money and you're going to get a VIP tour that gives you, in my opinion, way more, advantages. You're going to be able to essentially have Premier Pass at all the parks, private transportation. You get a tour guide. It's somebody that if you have kids, I've seen the tour guides, that push the strollers around. There's food involved. Like, I just feel like if you're going after this highest tier of customer that you have coming to Disney and quote unquote white glove treatment, the most white glove treatment you're going to get is a VIP tour. If you're already spending $400 plus per day, let's say at Magic Kingdom to get this, how much more would you spend just to do a VIP tour? That's the pricing on this. I don't know. I don't have the answers to this. I don't know how those people view it that have the budgets to do that. But I definitely think it feeds into the narrative yet again that Disney just price hiking. They're just charging more for things. It's more expensive to go to Disney if you really want to have, the ultimate theme park experience. It's essentially going to cost you, potentially thousands of dollars extra to do so. And I think that's the thing a lot of people point to. And I understand what they're saying is back in the day when you had Fast Pass Plus and the way the parks were, essentially whether you were rich or you could just scrape up enough money to go to Disney, everybody was in the same boat. Everybody had the same amount of fast passes. You stood in lines the same ways. Like everybody's park experience was rather similar in that way. Obviously it's vastly different now. And then a lot of it, like, a lot of people look into like haves and haves not. And you already have to deal with that in the real world. And a lot of people, go to theme parks to escape that. And they're reminded of that existing inside of a theme park. So, I'm not mad that this exists. This is something like there's a lot of experiences in life and in theme parks that if you have a certain amount of money, you're able to do, certain amount of things that other people can't do. But I don't think that this helps Disney in their PR issue, I would say that they have, as we've had a lot of mainstream outlets talk about the price hikes. Have they gone too far with it? They've priced out American families. And then you have some investors that have downgraded the Disney stock due to they see weakness in the theme parks. Plus, they're talking about competition from Universal. And then this directly correlates. I mean, if you're talking competition, and a lot of people don't like comparing Disney and Universal, and they say, oh, it's apples to oranges. It's not the same thing. And I'm not saying they're exactly the same experience, but it's really difficult to not look at this and then look directly at Universal and what they're offering. And now Universal seems like a discount. I mean, Universal's got to be, I'm assuming at this point, Universal has to be just licking their chops because now their Express Pass offering does seem like a bargain. And it never was cheap. And a lot of people that had complaints about Universal's system pointed to how expensive it is. And now you have Disney essentially offering the same system, at least not on the limited side, but on the regular Express side, but way more expensive. Now I hope Universal doesn't decide because Disney's up their pricing that they're going to up theirs necessarily, but I think the comparisons are undeniable here, and especially as more and more people start comparing a trip to Universal and a trip to Disney, as you have Epic Universe opening at Universal coming up. A lot of people not only are looking forward to the things that Universal is offering in terms of what's in the parks, the stuff they do there, but you start talking the pricing of this, it makes Universal in many ways just start looking like a bargain option in some ways. I'm not saying Universal is a bargain option. It's still a pricey experience to go to. I'm not saying that they're like half priced of Disney, but when you're talking about like Express Passes, their hotels, I mean, you can find a lot of their premier hotels. We've stayed in the $200 per night range. Now, that's not going to be during the busiest time of year, but you can stay at Universal. You get AP discounts. Like you can get value out of it. Plus, when you stay at their premieres, you get that Express Pass included, which is a great perk. I think the comparisons are going to be undeniable. People are automatically going to do that. And then that's before you even get to theme park experiences necessarily, just on pricing of this alone. If I was Universal, I don't think I'd be too upset to see this morning because I think this only helps the narrative with Universal in terms of what they've been doing. And, a lot of people talk about the value that you get with Universal compared to Disney. And Disney seems to get further and further away from the things that they did even, 5 years ago to where they're at now. Now, in terms of the people that will get this, obviously it's limited to deluxe guests only. So if you're not staying in a deluxe hotel, it's not even an option for you, which I do find interesting. I mean, I'm assuming there are some people that may not stay at a deluxe hotel that would rather splurge on, tickets if they were going to get this. So it's interesting that they're only limiting it to the people that are already paying a lot of money. And instead of a system where, say, you stay at a deluxe and you get this included because you're staying at a very expensive hotel, they essentially telling you have the right now to buy something that costs even more money. So I suppose their way of limiting it in terms of not having very many of these out there would be to just limit it to those amount of people, because on Disney property, the amount of people already staying at deluxe is very limited to the amount of people that stay either offsite or value or moderate levels. So already you're talking about a smaller pool of people, and of those people, how many of them are going to purchase this Premier Pass? I don't know. I have a hard time thinking that many people are going to look at this and see the value, but I don't think this is a value play. I think this is literally them tapping into the richest people that will come to Disney and just are willing to just pay for the, I guess you could say, the simplicity and the convenience of it, and don't mind it. I think that's exactly who this is going for. And it doesn't seem like they're shying away from that one bit, which, again, the timing of all this is interesting. I do wonder, a lot has been said about them really milking the parks for as much money as they can get out of them, considering that they are the biggest driver of revenue in the entire company now. This seems like a little bit more, trying to squeeze a little bit more money that they can out of this, especially from the last earnings report where they talked about how they were expecting, mid-single digit loss in revenue and or profit going into the fourth quarter. So part of me wonders if this is them trying to sort of like push up as much revenue as they can show for the quarter in there. But it doesn't really, in my opinion, go very well for the PR of what Disney's doing in terms of their image of being, very expensive, price hikes and things of that nature. And then it really comes down to, like, do you need this? Like, I have a hard time believing many people are going to get this, let's say, like Animal Kingdom. Like, you could still just get a single pass for Flight of Passage. Like, there's not a lot of need for this pass. I think the one you could make the argument for on a busy day would be Magic Kingdom. I just don't know how many people are going to be willing to pay $400 and some odd a day for this per person. But you're talking about the other parks, Animal Kingdom and Epcot. I don't think you need it for those parks personally. You can still get the single pass things there, and you ride most of the things in the day. So I suppose the two you'd be looking at the most would be Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom, but I don't really know how much you needed at Hollywood Studios. Like, it just really just comes down to, obviously it's priced at a point where only a select few amount of people are going to be able to get it, but is it something that is really needed? It almost seems like it's being priced at people that are just there. They don't really know the system well. They have a bunch of discretionary money and they just go, yeah, get it, and let's just go ride stuff and not worry about it. So, it is a simpler way to go about the parks for sure, because you don't have to schedule anything, but you're definitely going to pay a pretty penny for that. I am curious how this will go, how many people will actually buy this, and I'm not going to be too surprised if this is something that is offered for a limited amount of time and then is just sort of back to like it never happened. Disney has done this before. Again, like I talked about, the cabanas they had in Tomorrowland are a great example, as you probably could find articles about it. I think it was around the 2018 range, somewhere around there. But they're not probably going to acknowledge that they did that, or be like, I don't know what you're talking about. We never put up tents in Tomorrowland as cabanas you could rent out. But I'll have to wait and see how this goes over. I am very curious what everybody else has to say about this, because I don't think that this is a system that many people are looking at and saying, yeah, this is something I want and this is something I need. But either way, I'm very curious what you guys think about this. So please let me know in the comments. I've seen some reactions online about this, but I'm very curious what you guys all think about this. But either way, that's going to be it though for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And again, let us know in the comments what you think about Disney's pricing and offering of the Lightning Lane Premier Pass. And until next time, we will see you in the parks.